Hey friends, this is the Miss Wolfie from our Half Acre Homestead with another rambling update. You're not going to see a whole lot of new videos over the next couple of months. Not because we don't have video material, but because the material we're working on right now, I'm working on a log cabin tied quilt. Papa's working on the addition. I still haven't worked on the rag rug, for the simple reason is my shoulder's been bad. And the grandmother's flower garden quilt is about half of the blocks are done. Now remember folks, I'll give you an update at some time about showing you the blocks, but remember these are all hand sewn, and I don't have, you know, hours and hours and hours every day to sit down, because it takes me a half a day to do one block, and there are, I believe, 56 blocks in this quilt. So, and I'm about half done. So what I do is I stitch while I watch TV at night, or if Papa and I want to watch a movie. So these are all projects that are ongoing, but they take a lot of time to get enough material together for a video. So you're not going to see a whole lot of new videos unless I bake something, which I just don't have the time to do right now. The garden is an absolute mess. Why? Because we're not planting it this year. The only reason I have 3 rows in my garden is because I had all my baby potatoes, and my son planted them for me, and they're going to have to be healed up soon. The rest of the garden is in knee-high weeds. I can't get to the perennial garden. Why? Because it's got stinging nettle all growing up around it, and Papa's got to go in and whippersnip it. But once he whippersnips all the weeds from the garden area and the perennial garden area, and they can be fed to the goats and the pigs, it really doesn't matter, because even though we've spent years amending that soil to make it a wonderful garden, I'm really hoping next year Papa is going to build me a rain gutter grow system. Only for the simple reason is it uses a lot less soil than, say, putting in big raised beds, but with the same idea in the sense that there's no bending, okay, and not a lot of hoeing. But with the rain gutter grow system, as far as I can tell, you basically just plant them, and then you leave them till they're harvest. They're self-watering. They're in buckets, so there's not a lot of weeds. They're not in the ground, so I'm not going along hoeing and breaking my back. And my back is not good. So that's what we're hoping for next year. So I'm not going to bother. We didn't bother tilling the garden this year, because eventually it's all just going to get whippersnipped down. All the weeds are going to get whippersnipped down, and we're going to build this rain gutter grow system. And so I'm really got my fingers crossed on that. The greenhouse is doing really well. What's growing in it is not filmable. So, you know, you're just going to have to trust me that Daddy's idea on the greenhouse and the retractable lid works really, really well. Today, now we still haven't planted those 2 apple trees. You remember my son planted the 2 pear trees, the 2 grapevines, and the 2 plum trees. The one of the 2 grapevines I'm pretty certain is dead, but I'm going to leave it in the ground, because grapevines are funny. They can come back like apple trees. You know, the trunk of an apple tree. Your apple tree can die, and then 2 years later you see sprouts coming up from the trunk. Well, I'm just going to leave it be. But so we haven't decided where we're going to plant the apple trees yet. However, today I did plant, and yes, I planted them myself. Well, Daddy helped me. I planted 2 currant bushes, and Daddy helped me with those. And they're black currants. And I planted 2 top hat blueberry bushes, and I planted the blueberry bushes in between the plum trees, because my idea is that the grapevine is going to grow up the house, and the plum trees don't get really huge or bushy. So the blueberry bushes in between will get what they need. And I actually added some ash from the outdoor fire pit, some wet ash, because blueberries love acid, and that's what gives them their blue color. Like if you were to plant a blue hydrangea, You know, you put some ashes in the soil and it gives them the acidity that they need to really boom. What else is new? There's an upcoming video on, because you saw Daddy build the footings and the pillars. Well, he's now built the floor deck, and that's going to be an upcoming video in the next few days. And right now, the video after that, he's working on the framing and the trusses. But again, it's a long process. So, and of course, I'm getting ready to go away in a month. What's the date today? The 6th? Almost exactly a month. We're leaving on the 10th. So there's all that. The turkey hen that was sitting on 10 eggs, Papa looked again, and it looks more like 20, he said. And he swears there's 2 birds that are taking turns, because he's seen 2 of them sitting on the nest together, and then they're taking turns. Sometimes with one has to get up and go and eat, the other one keeps all the eggs warm, and they tag team it. So this is I'm really excited. Although I've had a lot of good advice, I'm really not sure what I'm going to do if she happens to hatch out eggs. I'm not sure what I'm going to do, whether I'm going to take the poults away from her and put them in a brooder, and let her keep a few, or whether I'm going to just let her try. My problem with this is if we've had our last 2 hatches have been really poor. I only got 1 turkey chick out of the hatch with the 10. The 10 chickens hatch and 1 turkey. Well, 2 turkeys, but 1 died. And the next hatch I had of turkeys, only 1 hatched. So I've got 2 turkeys of 2 different ages and chickens, and they've got to go out to the barn. So if she isn't going to be a good mother, I really don't want to find that out at the expense of 10 or 12 turkey poults, because, you know, we've had a couple of bad hatch rates here. Like, I mean, the first couple were like 86%, and these ones are like 15, if we're lucky, right? But I also have, and I don't know if you can see it. There's my incubator there. That has, how many eggs does that have in it? This is a weird one. I have 3, 6, and 18 is 24. I have 24 eggs in that incubator, and they are all turkey eggs. Now, the great thing about this thing, if it works, I'm really hovering over this incubator, is if you remember last year, I ordered some black copper Moran and some dark Cornish eggs for hatching from a lady in Kingston, and she, this year, had turkey eggs for sale. She had a lot of turkey eggs for sale. So I ordered a dozen turkey eggs off her. I wanted blue slates and bourbon reds, because I'm trying to keep you know me, folks, I like my heritage birds, but I also like mutts, because I honestly think in a lot of heritage lines, the bloodlines are going to be, they might be too thin. So if you mix different heritage breeds, you're going to get a more robust, healthier bloodline. Okay, that's why I do it with my chickens. I use heritage breeds, but I interbreed. I don't interbreed. I mix the breeds, and I'm going to do that with my turkeys. But when she sent me my son's girlfriend, my future daughter-in-law, I didn't say that out loud. Anyway, she was in Kingston visiting with her family, and she was coming back up here to be with Arthur when he was working here. And she picked up the eggs for me, and Debbie, thank you so very much. Debbie sent me 18 eggs. She apparently had a lot of turkey eggs this year. And she sent me, I think I've got 4 or 5 slates, which are a blue-gray turkey. 3 or 4 bourbon reds, and then she just pieced out the rest with Narragansetts. So I'm going to have all new bloodlines to mix with the turkeys that I have. So keep your fingers crossed, folks, because what my plan is again, we're always rotating stuff because we're such a small area. We only have a half acre. We can only raise so much. So I pick very carefully what I want to work with. So what I would really like to do, because I'm going to be switching out my Tom again next year, Whitey, our Tom, he will probably breed the hens again in the spring. And then he'll get switched out and maybe traded off to another farmer as a breeding Tom turkey. But I want to keep one of his baby boys that are Royal Palm Narragansett mix. If I keep one of those as my breeding Tom, and then I have fingers crossed, say a prayer, folks, if I have a bourbon red hen, a blue slate hen, a Narragansett hen, and that would be, and I forgot to tell you, the eggs, yes, there's blue slate, there's bourbon red, and there's Narragansett, but there's 6 eggs in there. 3 are mine, which would be Narragansett Royal Palm Cross. I know I'm babbling, okay? But 3 of the other eggs, and really, folks, please say a prayer that Kenny's eggs all hatch, because he only gave me 3, and I'm hatching them, and if 2 or 3 of those hatch, I get to keep one. He had one of my Narragansett baby hens, and he had a wild Tom turkey walk into his yard and take up residence. And the 3 eggs I have are a result of that Narragansett hen and that wild bronze turkey. So I'm really, really, really hoping I can get a little bronze Narragansett cross out of that too. So I'm going to have wonderful bloodlines this year. Anyway, I know I'm babbling on about my turkey. So I have 24 turkey eggs, and if I get 2 of every breed in there, that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 4, 6. If I get 8, I'll be really, really happy, especially if they're bourbons, slates, and the Narragansett bronze cross. That would be really cool. And I guess that's what I'm up to. It's not a rant today. It's just sharing some information. Oh, I did have some questions. Somebody asked me if I had any recipes for green tomatoes. I sent you some links for green tomato mincemeat pie filling, green tomato cinnamon bread, green tomato pickles, and if you have lots and lots of green tomatoes, dice them fine and make relish out of them. It's just as good as cucumber, trust me. And someone also asked me, they sent me a link of someone who was canning hamburger patties in a mushroom soup gravy. I know people do it, like canning meatloaf and other things. I know people do it. I don't recommend canning with a gravy that has a flour or starch base, and I don't recommend canning with dairy products. So if you are going to make and can hamburger patties, maybe I'll do a video on it, but I would recommend making the hamburger patties and then cooking them and then canning them in broth. All right, this is the Mrs. Volfie from our half-acre homestead saying, just an update, but be patient, folks. If the videos aren't coming as fast as you'd like, it's because, well, we're working on them. Take care. Bye-bye.